So you're right at the end of a very stressful application process. You've received an admit from a university and you're thrilled. The stressful part is done, right? But just when you think that all the hard work is done, there is a little bomb that explodes. You will know that the I-20 is your final offer of admission, and that is the document you will need to go on with your visa process. Now, universities to issue this document I-20 will ask for money in the bank to show that you can afford your first year of education. All of that seems fair, but then you see the amount on the I-20 being extremely high, far higher than what you'd imagined. How do you show such a high amount, and should you be worried about that amount in the first place? I'm going to cover all these details in this detailed and no nonsense video, so stay tuned. So irrespective of how you're going to fund your education and how you're going to show finances for the visa interview, every university would want to know if you can afford the first year of education, including the tuition fee, living, books, insurance, and everything else for the first year of education. Hence, they will ask you to show this amount in liquid assets in order for them to release the I-20. Of course, based on what I said, showing this funding is a non-negotiable. Here comes the first part of the process, which can be a little unnerving. You'd have seen the tuition fee and you'd have made an estimate of the cost of living, but you realize that the university's cost of attendance for the first year is highly inflated. And honestly, attending university with all your expenses considered is not going to cost as much. Duke University's tuition fee for the entire program last year for the MEM program was $65,000. But the I-20 amount they requested students to show in order for them to release the I-20 was $110,000. Now granted, there will be living expenses on top of the $65,000 tuition fee as per last year, but is it really going to be upwards of $50,000 for all other expenses? Mistakes happen sometimes, and that's why there's an intervention to this video. The Duke University MEM program's I-20 amount last year was about $95,000. This year, it might be $105,000. However, you get the gist of what I'm saying in the rest of this video, so I hope you can adjust. We're so sorry about that. So the first thing you don't have to worry about is the cost of attendance being that high, but you will have to show that $110,000 through various means in order for you to secure the I-20. In fact, it is normal for several universities to inflate the cost of living to about $25,000 to $30,000 a year as well. Just show that they're showing the highest possible end. In no realm of imagination will you be spending that much actually, unless you are the son of a prince or a king and you want to live a very lavish lifestyle as a student. So don't worry about that too much. Now here are ways in which you can show that amount of $100,000 or $110,000 or whatever the university is asking you to show to release the form I-20. The best way you can show it and the most acceptable form is money in the bank. Of course, one would argue that no one has so much in a savings account or a current account. Instead, if you do have savings, you can show it in a fixed deposit as well. Savings accounts plus fixed deposits are widely accepted without a problem. Now, one would also argue stating that it would be financial foolishness to have so much in a fixed deposit because of interest rates and other stuff. Let me not get into that. So what else can you show? You can show Provident Funds. These are accepted by a wide range of universities. A lot of universities also accept mutual fund statements because the amount is fairly liquid. Of course, some universities, very few, will not accept mutual funds because they are volatile. But if you can show that they're imminently saleable and you can liquidate that amount, it should largely work. I'm going to take a slight pause here because there's a lot of information we are giving you. And if you want such discussions, which are no nonsense, which are logical, and which talk about the ground reality, you can join Gradvine's admitted students groups. Several students are receiving admits at this point in time to universities like Duke, Carnegie Mellon, the University of Washington, Northeastern, Arizona State, and a whole bunch of others. You can get on, discuss with your peers about whether they want to attend this university, the pros and cons, how they're going about the post-admit process, and you can exchange notes. These groups are curated and the quality will be top-notch. You can use the links in the description to join, and joining will only be on the basis of approval from the Gradvine team. We look forward to seeing you there. Now, what if you're in a scenario where your savings account plus your fixed deposit plus your PF or wherever the mutual funds are accepted, all of this is not adding up as well? Then what are you going to do? Here are some solutions for that. Now, multiple people can sponsor your education. It could be your mother and your father, it could be your parents and a sibling, it could be an uncle as well. Hence, you can show amounts in their banks or through any of the accepted means that I've listed so far in this video, along with an affidavit of support. Even if you are showing your parents' bank accounts, you will need a letter or an affidavit of support from your parents stating that they are willing to cover the cost for your education. Hence, whoever you can get the affidavits from, you can show their liquid assets through various statements from the bank manager and mutual fund statements, etc. Additionally, if you have a family-run business or a company that is willing to sponsor you, you can show the company's bank account statements as well and get a letter or an affidavit of support from a legal signing authority from that company stating that the company will sponsor your entire education. Now, there could be a situation where relatives, companies, mutual funds, PFs, all of these are still not sufficient for you to show a very high amount on the I-20. At that point, what do you do? This is where loans come into the picture. Now, a lot of candidates are under the impression that you cannot get a loan sanctioned unless you have the I-20 in the first place, and that loan sanction letters are only for visa interviews. You must know that several NBFCs and in certain cases certain banks also sanction loans based on the admit offer. All you need to do is show the cost breakdown and your offer of admission over email, and then you can use this loan sanction letter to cover the total amount required for I-20. In fact, you can use the loan sanction amount and the amounts that you're showing in your various bank accounts to combine together and cover the amount that is required. Here's a tip as well. Even if you get a loan sanctioned by an NBFC where the interest rate is higher and you don't want to go for such a high interest rate loan, you don't have to take the disbursement. You can reject the loan even after the sanction letter is in place. A lot of people do that in order to get the I-20, and you can do that as well. I hope this video was informative. I know it was a lot of talking, but it is also a very nuanced process and we want to cover every single detail. If you'd like me to cover an entire detailed video on the education loan process and what kind of education loans and interest rates are available in the market and what makes sense for you, please drop a comment below and then we will record that video as well. As always, if you like the content, please do like, share and subscribe. It will help us tremendously.